believe so. Had a short break for the winter.
And then probably 7 weeks since we've last commentated.
But we're back.
We're back.
And so
I'm
British
Ghost Fired
driver.
Up, Adam Richardson. I'm joined by once again by Damazo3, Adam Liu.
Good, eh?
Yeah, very. I've got to be honest. I've driven this track about twice.
And I've driven it none, so we're very very kind of experienced to commentate here today.
Yeah, there is a new rule for this round. The number of cars has been reduced for pretty much BOP and to make the competition more fair.
So it is now only Renaults and I believe BMWs. Renaults and BMWs. See Ducky in his BMW.
So who is the first on the lap? Is it Jackson?
It's Jackson.
It is Jackson, so we will commentate on the lap. I don't know where he is in the championship. I should get that up, I think. Okay, just coming on to the start-finish isn't straight now.
Turn one to the right. Had to counter a bit of oversteer there.
Look clean, very fast turn one. Track looking very tight. We could see a couple of incidents in this early part of the lap.
Kept on track well though. Going through the left-hander. Is it flat out? Maybe not. To the hairpin, cambered corner, end of sector 1 line. Just there, and back onto the power. Coming up to an awkward looking chicane, I must say. Deals with it well, up the hill. And then, as physics works, down the hill. And towards another chicane.
I'm still trying to find these standings.
Well, we know who's top of the standings. That'll be Mr.
Well, we know Aston. Yeah, 10 wins already this season. The only driver with more than one win. It's quite remarkable.
He will be the man with the target on his back today. And a clear favourite, if you know. But Jackson in his pink, black and white mobile comes to the line.
And it's a 140.5. How can anyone respond? Given it's the first lap, I would expect that time to go down. Could we see anyone dipping under that 1:40?
Aston to the final corner. Jono's gone 2.7 off. Ducky 5.7
off.
off.
Aston a little bit wide. Could that be a slowdown maybe? Could you put the
invalidation?
Oh.
It was.
That'll be this and next lap as well, so this lap will be invalidated too. You're still going
Scott
for it.
Need to not set a time, and that's because he invalidated his in the very nice looking monster Renault again.
I've seen a livery looking like that before. It's my old NASCAR livery.
These two very close on track.
Yeah, John O'Mills.
The only BMW.
John O'Mills under a little bit of pressure. It's not even the race yet.
Already scoping out a potential overtaking move. And it's clearly not helping. He has 5.7 seconds on.
Yeah. So halfway into this session, Jackson Turner dominating, let's say, this session. However, Aston Lewis does not have a time on the board. 2.7 seconds clear. That is ridiculous. I don't think that gap will stay, but
well, Jono was down on his time. He's not at the best final penultimate corner in the world. And Ducky all over
Ducky is
him,
all
potentially
over
going
him.
for the move. Jono kind of defended the inside on his lap. He pulls now to potentially break the slipstream. Will either of
I
these two
think
improve? I
he's
highly
letting him
doubt
through.
it. Ducky actually does, but it's not a worthy time of anything.
Yeah.
Aston in the similar looking Renault Megane, teammate of Jono Mills, comes to the line. That was invalidated because we saw
Yeah,
him off at the
this
last
and
corner
next
last
lap.
time. Scott.
Let's have a look at Scott. Goes
Up to
P2, still
P2.
2 seconds off the pace though.
Into
Really,
P2, 2.2 off.
it's up to Aston to stop Jackson from running away with this, I think. As we have our first viewer to the stream, welcome. Currently 3 minutes 29 seconds to go of qualifying. And it is Jackson Turner, miles in front of anyone, but if anyone can stop him, it's probably Aston, with how dominant he's been this season.
He's looked good for that very awkward chicane.
Right on board now.
Into another awkward chicane. You want to stay up those curbs, I feel like they would launch your car off onto the grass. Not where you want to be.
Yeah, the curbs very similar to the ones at Snetterton, where if you hit, they are slightly extreme.
Slightly is one word for it. Slightly faster is also one word for Aston's pace.
Corner, not really using too much of the exit there. Aston. Cut to the final
corner. I've seen anyone take the penultimate corner though.
Goes through the penultimate corner, doesn't invalidate this time. No improvement from Jackson. Aston crosses the line and goes P2 within 7/10. The race is on now. Can Aston find that time? Scott coming across the line doesn't improve. Jono is kind of nowhere. He's in the middle of the track. That looks quick.
He's coming over to the sector 1 line now, but that's very wide.
And he's a 10th down. So look at Jackson. That looked very clean. Hang on a second.
Yes.
Jackson has 0.1 of a litre less fuel than everyone.
Is that because he's further on the track?
No, there's no fuel. Is there? He genuinely has a slightly lighter car.
Maybe protesting that. As he comes to the line, will he improve? No, he's
only
2
tenths
off.
off. Yeah, have a look. Aston has 8.5 and...
But yeah, he has less. Much less. Scott coming through the penultimate corner. Aston does get out of the way.
Again, I'm noticing drivers not really using as much as immediately. Ducky uses all the space.
Background uses it, but...
Well, I can't really provide a championship standings because they don't seem to exist.
Kept behind closed doors. Ducky doesn't improve, Scott doesn't improve. The grid stays as it is.
14 seconds. The drivers are starting their final laps. Can anyone beat Jackson's, fair to say, incredible first lap?
Can Jackson beat his own lap? That doesn't look as clean as last time.
I think it were a little bit quicker though. He used a bit more of the inside.
That's wide though. And he is...
It's still possible. He's only 2/10 down.
If he has time to find in the last sector, then it's definitely possible to improve here. But he gets a bit on the curve there. Doesn't use all the track on exit, but knowing curves in this game, that might be for the best to stay off that curb.
Indeed, it might be very nice through the final corner, using all of the space allowed. Jackson Turner, first to finish qualifying. He doesn't improve, but he's still on provisional pole by nearly 7/10. John O'Mills, currently P4 in this qualifying session, 2.7 seconds down. Not really going as wide as you would really want through the final corner. And he does not improve. Scott Sandever now coming through the final corner. Number 87, Monster Energy. Scott Sandever.
No improvement.
He doesn't improve.
The only BMW in this session. He stays down and last.
Doesn't improve.
Aston
Aston Lewis.
Can he beat Jackson for pole?
We don't know.
He cannot.
He doesn't improve. So Jackson Turner, with an astonishing first lap to win the pole position, the only driver in the 1:40s. I'm going to say a line. I want to say a line that he said earlier this season. He didn't need the full 10 minutes. He only needed the first 2. I don't think you were racing that race, were you? Dowers.
I assume not.
It was Donington. I know how much you despise it. Anyway, another 15-minute race coming up. Dry conditions. Jackson Turner with a dominant pole position. Not exactly normal for this league, but so we're just syncing up now. And we are underway for the first race. It's a brilliant start by Jackson, terrible by Aston. Scott Sandever already up into P2 as they're side by side in the background. Ducky as well. Niall Kerrin with another brilliant start as well. From the back, I believe, almost up into P2.
I don't quite know what happened to Aston. He just didn't get going off the start.
Bogged down, yeah.
A little bit of
As
contact
they're 3 wide pretty much behind. Ducky is this. They're both gone. That's a huge accident. They're both
and Ducky around. Jackson must have got to slow down. He's dropped behind Scott, who's now inherited the lead.
Jackson and Aston pretty much side by side now. Aston barely ahead of that. An incident for Jackson into the grass.
And that is a product of having such a narrow circuit. Contact is easy. We've seen it between Jono and Ducky.
Can you put the track maps back on as well, please?
As well.
Thank you. So, coming near the Sector 2 line is Scott Sandever in the lead, 2 seconds off in qualifying, but capitalising, having a good clean lap 1, and capitalising on the bad start of Aston and the, we think, slow down of Jackson.
We believe. We were caught up watching Jono and Ducky's crash. We missed Jackson losing the lead and then losing P2.
It's looking like a real captivating battle. Will Aston look to send it into the final corner? He has a little look,
Jackson behind though.
Slight contact there. Jackson looks to get the better run as they pretty much nose to tail going across the line. Scott Sandever leads the first lap. However, Aston's looking around the outside into turn 1. Could Jackson capitalise? They're 3 wide nearly.
Jackson could go from P3 to P1 as he attempts around the outside. He can't do it. He
cannot manage it. Scott somehow keeps the lead as Jackson and Aston that are once again side by side through this section. Aston slightly ahead, maybe a little bit of contact. Scott Sandever will be loving this, those two battling, although he's not too far ahead.
As we come to this part of the track, they are in the same order, but that does not tell the full story.
Clipping the curb there. That could have been dangerous. We've seen what those sausage curbs could do. Scott weaving now, trying to break the turn. I mean, of course, he's got the 10-time race winner and the dominant pole sitter behind him. However, Jackson seems to be putting Aston under more pressure than Aston's putting under Scott. Why did I find that so difficult to say? Going into the penultimate corner now. The gap
I've
between...
seen a fair few times, Scott locking up.
Yeah, potentially trying less ABS. Anyway, Jackson and Aston side by side again into the final corner. Just covers him up. Scott will be loving this, with these two battling hard but fair. But Scott is now leading by by over 8/10 to turn one. No battling really, but maybe a poor run from Scott. He's just lost 2/10 to Aston.
He's
and a bit wide as well.
Another 2/10 costed there. But Scott has shown impressive pace, because Aston's been looking in his mirrors more than he's been looking out in front.
Shown good nerve. I'll give him that. I'll just get the comments up on my phone. Oh, hitting the wall, Jackson! Very lucky to escape without a huge crash there.
If you clip that curve, he went into the air, lost control, and into the wall. He's lost a good heap of time. He's still just about about. Scott locking up and getting Aston all over his rear now.
In response to the comment, yes, Evan, it is indeed the real Ghost Fired Up commentating with the real Damaso 3. As put side by side into the penultimate corner, Aston and Scott. Aston seems to have picked up the pace a little bit, seems to have ditched Jackson a little bit. Although Jackson's still within 6/10 of the lead. After with a very good run through the final corner. Could we see the side by side for the lead into turn one? Aston pulls out. He's going to send it up the inside, and P1 goes to Aston Lewis. However, Scott could get the switch back here. Oh, that's a late defensive move. That is a late defensive move from Aston there. I don't think Scott will be very happy.
That's a late dive from Scott. He's forced to cut the corner. Jackson now looking all over his rear.
Could Jackson potentially dive bomb the pair of them? No, he's way too far back.
He's also got Scott.
He has got Scott. So Scott, in a matter of corners, his great defence off P1 has now ended, and the championship leader and the pole sitter are both through and 1.5 seconds clear.
Already.
Aston leading by just under 6/10. It's been a thrilling battle for the lead.
We saw a thrilling battle between Jackson and Aston for the winner not kill, I think it was.
Yes, it was not kill.
A repeat of that on the cards.
The real question is, does Jackson have less fuel in this race than everyone else? That did seem to be the case in qualifying. He does! Once again. Jackson with 100 millilitres less fuel. It's disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. We're joking, obviously. 100 millilitres.
From bad to worse for Scott, who is now 3 seconds back. And
3 seconds back, yeah. Unlucky for Scott now. The pack has truly been unleashed, and 146 for Scott. Something's gone wrong, obviously, on that lap. But you can see the front two just in a league of their own, both of them in the 1:40 40s. That's faster than Aston's qualifying time. As Jackson almost runs wide there. That was so nearly a slowdown penalty.
Of course, a slowdown penalty is what costed him the lead on lap 1. The pole sitter, the dominant pole sitter.
He got such a brilliant start too.
Aston, who almost dropped to last on lap 1, now sitting in first.
Yeah, he went down to P4, did he?
Side by side with Jono
Ducky almost got into P2, which would have been P1. And then Jono and Ducky had that incident. 3/10 separates the leaders. Jackson really putting Aston under pressure.
Much tighter line from Jackson. Potentially looking for the better exit now. Which would make sense given the long straight coming.
No, he's got to slow
Jackson's
down.
got to slow
He's
down.
got to slow down.
Will this benefit Scott enough? As
It
Scott
will
comes
do.
alongside and gets him. Scott backfill on Jackson for the second time today from a slow down penalty.
They don't call him the CEO of P2 for nothing, that's for sure. So Aston now leading by 3.5 seconds. Jackson losing 5 seconds with that slowdown. I think maybe it would have been worth taking the penalty on that one.
I think so, but at the time you don't always know, and sometimes they take a lot. They're inconsistent, these slow down penalties.
I think you would have gotten 1 to 2 seconds. He just lost 5 there.
Taking a penalty though, Scott's done it. Ducky now has a penalty as well.
2 seconds for Ducky, 1
for Mr. Sandever.
So Jackson will know that he has got this penalty. So maybe I can't see him getting past Aston unless Aston has a slowdown. He has to gain over a second a minute, which is possible. But then you have to overtake 2.
Scott.
One thing I've noticed too, Scott also has less fuel.
What the fuel now? 10.5, 10.4. Oh, Ducky has way more than everyone else.
11.2 litres of fuel. Maybe
He
that
somehow gained fuel from driving his car. That is revolutionary.
I think Niall. I think that BMW may drain a lot more fuel if fuel settings were turned
Come with
on.
some disadvantages. He is the only Beamer.
Has Aston had an incident? Scott has really picked up the pace. In fact, Aston has had an incident, I think.
Jackson no longer 5 seconds back, down to 3 as well, so yeah.
Yeah, Scott's
You can see the lap times as they come across to finish this lap. Aston 143.9, yes.
Yes, Scott with a 141.2. Jackson with a 141.1.
So Jackson has gained.
It is game on now.
He needed a second lap.
Maybe Aston getting a little bit complacent there as we almost see Jackson run wide there again. So yeah, potentially a little bit complacent from Aston. A rare slip up, I'd say.
However, Scott 5 tenths down on this lap. Could be
But he's not pulled away at all. He's not.
And he's broken into around about a second, 1.1. Jono has swap places with Ducky. That seems to be an issue there for Jono.
Jono, I think, spun at the hairpin.
Scott
2.2
now
seconds.
within a second. 0.8.
Inside a brilliant
the battle could be back on, and it could be on for Scott.
Scott with a very good middle sector, again 5 tenths on his fastest lap. Has Scott woken up or something?
We're saving it all for this final push, so we should get 3 more laps.
2 more laps, I believe. 2 more laps after this one, I think. Maybe 3 more. Scott very nearly breaking into the 140s. Jackson with a 140.1. And Scott makes a mistake.
Onto the grass. Shouldn't have cost them too much.
Jackson's just beaten his qualifying time by 4 tenths. And he already got pole by nearly 7 tenths.
The win is on here for 3,
which we didn't expect. We didn't expect that after Jackson's slowdown.
The circumstance a couple of laps ago. Scott now almost side by side with
switchback,
pulling out onto a different line into the chicane. Aston leads. Scott just behind. Slight Error from Scott. That's costed him.
That's
Jackson
put
now
Jackson in
looking.
range. Side by side. Getting the toe from Aston, and Jackson is through. So a very costly mistake there from Scott. Did Scott get a penalty from going off the track earlier in the lap? So he didn't seem to slow
He
down.
did
No,
not.
he did not. Okay. Scott's still right behind. But Jackson's pace is honestly mesmerising at the moment. 1 lap to go, we believe, unless Project Cars 2 decides to be Project Cars 2.
This is not over. I think Aston was all over the curb for the final corner as well.
What's the current pace? Jackson with
cruise
a...
again. 140 dead.
Wow. Scott
2 tenths
getting
the
all
gap.
over that curb.
Jackson looking for a bit of space to
Oh,
potentially
tenth
make
and
a
a half.
move.
We had a look on the fast left-hander. Can I have a look into hairpin? They're all starting to concertina up a little bit. All 3 within half a second. Will any of them look for the move into the hairpin? Jackson just 2 tenths off. Does not go for it. Scott doesn't go for it after good line.
Switch back. Aston defends the switch back into the chicane. It'll be a bold move if anyone goes for it here.
I think Jackson's... But that was very much... Jackson has just won the gold medal in the long jump. Going over that curb and has lost no time. His best chance now is to go... maybe into this chicane or the penultimate corner. If he can't do it there, then I think Aston's got the win. Unless he makes a mistake at the final corner. 12 seconds left of this race. So I think it'll be over this lap. Aston now half a second in front. Scott is now closer to Jackson, going through the penultimate corner. This has been an absolutely thrilling race at the front. There could have been 5 contenders, but 2 of them got eliminated instantly. Through the final corner, Jackson not getting a very good run. Apollo Aston, for the 11th time this season, wins the race.
Just the 11.
Just 11. Scott and Jackson having a monumental accident.
See after the race. Ducky will come forth.
In that-
Very banged up on it.
Yeah. One could say average BMW driver.
And Jono with the bonnet hanging off.
Wow.
And yeah.
What a race though.
You can see how his car's fared. See how his race has gone just looking by his car.
So Jackson with the fastest lap of a 140.0.
It was nose to tail throughout almost the entire race.
I mean,
Great
the
racing there.
comeback from Jackson though, he was 6 seconds off at one point. Aston maybe made a couple of mistakes, possibly got a little bit complacent, I think, but still just held on. I think if there would have been another lap, I believe there would have either been an incident or Jackson would have won. Wow.
For a track that looked difficult to overtake and is extremely narrow, we got some.
Really good racing.
Yeah. So we're going for race 2, which I believe there's another quali session for.
Do you reckon any of the drivers will dip into the 139s? Jackson was nearly there in the race. I'd say if anyone can,
Straddling
Jackson.
the 140 deads.
140.016.
There's the potential for it. Whether or not we can see it happen will be another question, but I definitely think it's doable. They've obviously had, what, a whole race worth of practice now.
Scott as well picked up a pace significantly. So whether he was having wheel issues in the early part of the race, which, speaking to Scott, is having a lot recently. Or he's just got used to the car and the track more. As we're going into the second qualifying session of the race. Very entertaining race. Well, we've still got 2 races to go, one of which is wet.
One of which is a
Random
grid.
Random grid.
Look forward to that in a race 3.
Okay, so we'll do this before race 3. Who do you think is going to get pole for the random grid race?
Scott.
I'm saying,
why not?
I'm going to say Ducky. For the
Could
random
literally
grid.
be anyone.
I've got a 1 in 5 chance of getting it right.
Do we have a prediction for the one where we can actually see it based off merit? Race 2 quali?
I cannot see past Jackson for this pole position.
He showed the quickest pace in a race 1, but I'll go different. I'll go for an Aston.
You going for an Aston? Fair enough. Shortened qualifying session, so the pressure is on for the drivers. Can't make any mistakes like Aston did at the start of the last qualifying session. This and next lap is it's pretty much quali over here, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Oh, with 5 minutes in it, then yeah, that is definitely a big blow. You think by the time they've got out around this outlap,
Yeah, out
3 minutes left.
Yeah, if you do what Aston did, then do your outlap, then your lap, invalidate final corner.
Yeah, best bet is to return straight to the pits. Pause, straight to the pits.
Literally.
Do an outlap as fast as possible, and
That's
maybe you get a lap in.
Yeah, that. But then again, you'll have to warm up the tyres all the way again.
It's not ideal, no matter how you put it. Aston drifting it through, warming the tyres up, Scott off the track.
It would be very tight if you did, in the scenario that Aston did, because if 1 lap is 100 seconds, 3 laps is exactly 5 minutes. Yes, coming out of the pits adds a few seconds onto that tyre warm-up as well. But
just seeing Ducky is all the way at the back, looking very confident hanging back. Not at all concerned by the time constraints of just a 5-minute session.
So here's your race winner from race 1, Apollo Aston, starting his lap in this shortened qualifying session. A race worth of practice.
Did he cut the corner there? Would that invalidate his lap potentially? He was all over the curb, and I think it might have, because he has spun across the track on a straight.
Not ideal.
Scott
as well.
Because he's around as well. Jackson, the only one of the 3 in this kind of cluster who is still going in a straight line. Yeah.
Yeah, and still with less fuel than everyone else.
Through the cambered hairpin. The kink to the right into the tight chicane, touches the curb but gets away with it.
Very clean.
Down the hill we see Jono in the distance, Aston's teammate. Can he potentially show a bit more pace, which he wasn't able to do in the race?
Wow,
given
that
his
was
incident on lap 1.
That was
yeah, that was very
Jackson leaving
impressive.
nothing on the table here. I don't think this will be the 139, but it'll definitely be a 140, I think. He looks so in control. Could we see a late championship fight back from from Jackson on the dominant
Takes
after
something.
race.
Jono's first line, it's a 142.9, not really on the pace at all.
Jackson.
Jackson, it's a 140.1.
I can't see the
Pace is
timings.
flying through him.
There we go.
Don't know how that's turned off.
140.1. Wow. Could start the final laps. Ducky goes
3 seconds off.
1 minute 43. And he spins
And
on
there's
his
a
final lap, so
spin.
he will not improve. Where is Aston?
Aston is starting his lap all the way at the back.
Wow.
He'll be the last to come to the line. Jono will be the first. Jackson second.
Jackson is still pushing. You can see he wants that 139. Be a
You can also
mightily.
see Jono getting very, very closer in the distance. Cannot let that become a distraction to him. Slightly sideways through the chicane, but all should be fine. Over the curb on exit as well.
Let's see
He's
what's his
pushing
delta.
everything.
He's 2/10 down. It's still possible, but not too likely at the moment. As we will go on board with John O'Mills as he completes his final lap.
I'm not expecting him to improve here. Jackson has caught him massively. He doesn't.
He
He
does.
does by 4/10. Jackson
Didn't.
himself didn't improve, but it's still 2 seconds up.
Scott Sandever had a very
On
good
John
pace at the end of last race. Goes 1.6 off. Ducky with his much more fuel. He's not really using much of the exit. He doesn't improve. So you now see Apollo Aston. Is he valid? He's still pushing. Using all of the curb on exit. Trying to carry as much speed as possible. And where does he go?
And did he do it?
He does
He did
not,
not.
half a second.
It's closer than last time. 140.663.
Where is Jackson is the fastest
and
by quite a
third
lot
sector, yeah.
in every sector. So will we see? Is this the exact same grid as last race?
I believe so.
Wow. So Jackson's gonna get away well, but have a slowdown. Aston's gonna get bogged down. Scott is just going to exist off this start. Jono will get away good, and Ducky's car will become a rocket ship on the start. And then, about halfway around the lap, Jono and Ducky are gonna have another incident.
And there you go. No need to watch the race. We know what's going to happen.
It's gonna be a really, really intense battle between the front three. As we are just waiting for something.
And to ready up, finish, applying setups.
There's no setups.
I'm just giving them an excuse, right? If you take it
Come
so
on,
long.
we've got an IndyCar race in 2 days. 3 lights on the board now. We're underway for race 2. Jackson gets away good, but not as good as last race. Ducky again having his car like a rocket ship. Aston not quite bogging down this time. They're going side by side into turn 1. Jackson leads.
Ducky all over the back of Aston. Scott looking at a move on Ducky.
There's Jono as well.
And he's
Look
got
at
the
it. Scott with a
switchback
beautiful
with the
switchback.
traction.
Beautiful. BMW not looking like a very quick car to drive, from the looks of things.
Everyone has made it to the hairpin this time around.
No slowdowns
Jackson ahead of
either.
Aston, Scott, Ducky, and Jono all surviving. Let the racing commence.
Finally, a 5-car battle.
Big gap splitting between the top three, I'd say, and then there's a bit of a cluster behind Scott, Ducky, and Jono going for a move potentially.
Taking a lot of the curbs, nearly spinning on exit. Oh, and Ducky's gone.
Hit the wall. Ducky has hit the wall.
What has happened to Ducky there?
I think he's hit the wall on the inside of the chicane, and it's just forced him to exit stage left into the gravel.
See Jackson 8/10 clear going into this final corner. It's been a perfect first lap, unlike his first lap last race. Diving into turn one. Look at that sideways for Jackson. That could have been a little bit of a mistake.
It was. Aston has closed in. Feeling the pressure, Jackson. Because he hasn't actually led a lap yet, despite his pace.
No, that's very true, he hasn't.
That was his first lap led, just now. Aston has closed down from about 6/10 to 3.
Jackson got a little bit wide there as well.
As we're now down to 2/10. Aston pressurising Jackson Turner into the chicane.
Oh, slight.
Very close to the wall.
Jackson getting another 2/10 through that section. He's very, very good through the chicanes, I've noticed. Compared to everyone else, he just... Although that was very good for Aston.
Aston matching him there, but the exit wasn't as good.
Jackson's able to consistently get to those exits. I think that's where he is finding his time. As we see Scott's endeavour now, you can see this pack of three has formed once again.
These three do seem to have the outstanding pace.
Scott can capitalise very good if these two have a battle and things don't turn out favourably for either driver.
Battle may be on. Aston, a couple tenths of Jackson into turn
Scott
one.
is within a second as well. He's only 6/10 off. Scott really likes that curb as well, I've noticed. Like, on an intimate level.
Once again we see these three nose to tail out the lap. Can Aston break that though and go for the move into the hairpin?
Oh no, he's
gone
spun!
to the grass
He's
under
spun!
braking.
And he's reset to track. Is that allowed?
I'm not sure, but Jono is also potentially through on his
He
teammate.
is. You can see the
and then lets him through.
Valtteri, Jonathan, it's James.
So Aston on the grass under braking, locked for the rear, spun the car around straight into a wall, and he's now 6 seconds off.
6 seconds off. We saw that last race.
Doesn't mean he's out of it.
Although
Jackson breaking a gap to Scott.
And he's a 10th up on this lap. Jackson in clear air. I think he just wants to go for this. Oh no, but he's gone off!
Oh, he's off!
He's off the track!
Curse. Will it be a slowdown? That would be
got to be, surely.
Part.
Surely it's got to be, right?
We'll see on the exit here. He keeps it flat.
He keeps it pinned, but surely that's a slowdown, right?
I guess he lost enough time in and of itself.
No, but if you go off track, it is usually a slowdown regardless. Unless Project Cars 2 has decided to be Project Cars 2 once again.
Either way, it has helped Scott close up He won't want to drop back a second like last time again.
I am
He's to take the
very,
opportunity.
I am very surprised that that isn't a slowdown.
Scott's almost done what Aston's done. He keeps it out of the wall
Lucky,
and
lucky,
somehow
lucky.
keeps it within a second of Jackson.
Wow, okay.
Well managed.
I can probably imagine the words that Scott has just said in his particular party. Probably not words that I should be saying on here. Revving out second through most of that. Nice couple of corners from Scott. He's got a better exit than Jackson as well. It's just about half a second off Jackson. You can see Jackson not making the same mistake as last lap, maybe driving a little bit cautiously. Could
I would
Scott
also like to point out Aston has had another issue.
Oh, he has as well.
13 seconds back.
He has, okay, so we haven't seen a 13 second. He has to gain nearly 2 seconds a minute. And when Jackson's running at a 140.3 quite comfortably, I cannot see how that will happen.
Aston, the fastest lap of a 154.5. It's now a 141.2, but it is a second or 9/10 slower than Jackson on the last lap.
Wow, okay. Jono with a 149 flat. Scott not making the same mistake again as he slides into that corner. Jackson liking that wide line, I think.
But it has cost them a bit of time there.
Yeah, but
Maybe we'll give him the better exit towards the chicane.
It does, but I don't think it's a long enough straight.
Nor do I. And Scott has matched, if not
beaten by a
what
10.
Jackson's done there.
Beaten by a 10. Scott having a little look.
On the inside. Really closes up on the entrance and stays that close on the exit.
It's truly remarkable driving.
Scott also trying to blind Jackson as mirrors, having his lights set to full beam.
I love that, getting in his head. And Scott has a better exit now, within a 10th of a second. Does he have a look into the final corner? No, he doesn't. That's the closest he's been all race. Can he get a better exit? He does get a good exit.
Pulling into the slipstream. Turn 1. Will he look to the inside? He does not.
He doesn't.
Can he force the error? No, Jackson remaining.
Oh, he hasn't gone over his favourite curb.
Jackson sliding wide. Can Scott pull off a switchback like he did on that one? No, he cannot.
No, he can't. He's lost out on the exit too. Has Ducky pit or is he retired?
Ducky has retired.
Ah, that is a shame. Again, I don't know if that wide line is like worth it. I guess you're carrying more speed, but it's only a short straight before the chicane. However, Jackson with a very good chicane just then. Scott, maybe a little bit wide. No, but he's got better than Jackson there. Jackson going very defensive early on there. And the track is very narrow. It is very hard to pass, but it does create very good racing.
So it does create a very good opportunity to force your rival into a mistake.
Do what they do in NASCAR, the good old bump and run. So that doesn't.
Scott having to correct a bit of oversteer, but doesn't lose the most amount of time. 4/10 back. He's further back this lap.
And he's lost out on the exit too. Both of them in the 141s on that lap.
He's got on his favourite curve.
Aston maybe with another incident, 14 seconds off now, the last lap of a 147.
And Scott
Scott with,
to match.
Scott with a huge slide as well, just then. Four minutes left of this race, nearly.
Oh, Jackson going onto the grass mid-apex.
Ooh, that's
Too
not
much
good.
apex there from the leader.
You could say he took the alternative apex.
There you go.
Had to be done.
Got 4.5 tenths. Penalty-wise, neither of these two
Scott
have
has
a
set a
penalty.
139.6.
What a lap!
Wow.
What a lap!
Okay. So we all thought Jackson was going to be the one in the 139. No, it's Scott.
He needs to do that on a more consistent basis, however. His last lap, 3 tenths off the leader. Jackson slightly wide again through the penultimate.
Yeah, he's taking that very safe just then. Lost out quite badly on exit 2. Right on board as we go through the final corner.
Scott closing right up on the pink and black Renault.
Guy, he just cannot get close enough. He's so close, but
2 tenths quicker than Jackson on the last lap. Slightly grazing his favourite curb. 2 laps to go.
Jackson with
Jackson
a huge
again.
slide. Scott
Sliding
keeps
through
it
that corner
stable.
again. He's got
We're
the
gonna go for a
traction.
look for
He's
the
got the
chicane.
slipstream.
Nearly side by side now. Jackson defending the inside into the fast right left hand kink.
Scott slightly pulling out.
Does
Maybe
Scott
the sensible
go
choice,
for it?
but it's not going to give him the lead.
And Scott
as
takes
of
the
yet.
alternative apex. Very close for Scott then. That's his best opportunity so far.
He's really fired it into the chicane. Look how it's worked out for him.
Okay, I spoke too soon.
Can he dive it to the inside here? I think he's too far back. He did have a little look as he almost pushes Jackson through the corner.
Wow.
Sure, he's going for the switchback now. He's almost
just
alongside.
can't-
Can he get his nose alongside? He can't.
That onboard shot really doing Scott wonders there.
Jackson
Is he
under
trying-
heaps of pressure.
Is he trying to pressure Jackson into a mistake?
That may be his best opportunity to get past, I think.
He had a
Look
look
at him
into-
constantly looking to the inside.
as we're about to go on to the final lap. The two leaders have been scrapping throughout this whole race.
They match, despite Scott's efforts, they match each other. Jackson's slightly quicker on that last lap.
Oh, I think we need to go on board again.
On
Jackson-
board we go. Jackson keeping it clean through this time.
Got a little bit
Hugging
wide,
the
he'll have a
apex.
better exit, I think. But I think he lost a little bit too much time to have a chance into the hairpin. Unless Scott does
Really?
something insane.
Will there be a late dive bomb? It would be manic.
Lockups from the pair of them. This has been an incredible battle at the front. Sending it into the chicane now. Scott maybe took a little bit more than he can chew there. He's back to half a second back. That is not good for Scott. Has Jackson won a race this season?
I think he's got one in Knockhill.
Scott again, he's getting so close.
All over the curve though.
Yeah, I think
Gonna take a Jackson error now to
it has happened at the penultimate corner before. But it hasn't
Scott
happened this
wide.
time. An absolutely thrilling battle once again. But Jackson withstands the pressure. That was a brilliant drive from Jackson, who
comes
Win-
across the line.
who
With a spin
becomes
to
the-
celebrate the win.
becomes the first driver other than Aston to win multiple races this season.
There you go.
Wow. Jesus. I'm completely at a loss for words.
Just some great battling. And now we get a random grid, so can only get more exciting from here. Jackson's your winner, Scott and Aston
Aston
join him on the
nearly getting that
podium.
139 too. What a race. Again. And now we've got the random weather. Not the random weather, the rain random grid race. You've said Scott for Paul, I've said Ducky.
Could
That,
really be anyone. Could even be us.
you know what, yeah, I'm going to say, I think that Damaso 3 guy, I think he could get pole for this race. I've heard he's a very quick driver, especially in IndyCars.
In my only race in this series, I did actually get pole on the random grid, so...
I don't think I got a pole on the
And I
random grid.
retired by the end of the lap.
By the end of the lap?
Which goes to show how bad the lap went.
By the end of the lap?
Yeah, I didn't even cross the line to start lap 2.
Jesus. Okay. So we're just waiting now for the random grid and the random weather. And it's hard to say to not say the random weather. Has he changed the weather? Jackson started it. There is no rain. There's no rain.
In the race.
Oh, that's a shame. Did we have rain at Knockhill?
I think so. I do remember it being wet, but I guess not this time. We'll make for better racing anyway, so...
Who will get pole? Will either me or Dammers be correct? It is Jono on pole.
Jono from Scott, Jackson, Ducky, Aston at the back. The Jono Mills Racing sandwich is our grid.
I'll tell you someone who won't be happy with that, it's Aston. 3 lights on. And we're underway for the final race.
Jackson with a mega start. He's already into the lead.
Do you mean Scott, right?
Scott into the lead. That's what I meant.
And there's someone already gone at the back. As Aston's already gone in a collision with Ducky.
I believe it would have been Ducky who's also at the back. Ducky again involved in an incident.
As John has a look at Scott, Jackson has a look, almost making it 3 wide.
And Scott and Jackson
How has Jackson not gone there? How?
They both keep in a straight line. Jono coming across.
Wow.
Off the track and into the tyre barriers. And now we have Scott and Jackson at the front yet again. They're a random grid. It will be the same result.
Control C, Control V.
Except Scott this time in the lead. And, well, if we get this battle again, I'm all for it. It was a great battle last time.
I'm all for it. We've had 31 minutes of incredible battling so far.
Jackson 5/10 back. A crazy lap 1. Has left these two with the only realistic shot of victory.
But they could take each other out.
Which should put Jono into the lead. Jono,
But
who almost seemed to take himself out, being Jackson and Scott slightly sideways and somehow keeping it in a straight line. Jono drove into the grass and never recovered it. Jono and Aston both have penalties, yet again.
oh wow. So having a look into turn one is Jackson Scott going a little bit wide, not wanting to touch his favourite curb. So coming up to, on the run up to the hairpin, Jackson less than 3/10 back. Move is possible, I think. It'd have to be a real send and Scott wouldn't be too happy with it. He's had a
Did have a
look.
little look of a send,
Possibly
and
an
it has put
exit.
him
It's got a
side by
very good
side.
exit.
One
Side
of
by
these two may have to back out into this corner. Which
Neither
one
of
of them
them.
will
Well,
do it? Neither
they've
want
crashed.
to.
They've crashed.
Who will inherit the lead? Scott stays in front.
I told you neither of them would back out.
Ducky
Ducky's retired
retires.
again.
This has put both the JMR cars in with a shot. Just 3 seconds back, the two of them.
They do have penalties though.
They do.
Bit of a lucky escape, I'd say, for both of them.
Jono ahead of Aston. How much longer will it stay like that? Aston all over the back of Jono. As he looks to send it in the final corner.
He does, that's beautiful.
Nice
John
enough
wide on
move.
exit 2. Go back to the lead, battle for the lead, less than 2/10 now. Into turn 1. Scott glances his favourite curb. Oh, he's
Drifts
sliding.
it through.
Slide worked for him, you know.
If it stays like this, we'll see 3 different winners in all 3 races. And the way the 3 have driven, it deserves to be that way.
Yeah, it deserves to be that way. All 3 have driven incredibly. Aston with a brilliant drive in the first race to come back from a not great qualifying and a bogged down start to win, albeit very much under pressure. Jackson controlled the last race and Scott has he's kept up very nicely. Jackson had a little bit of a look. Scott to the grass,
scared of the
side by
track.
side. Has Jackson got the move done? No, he doesn't just yet. Side by side now for the lead, and Scott gets back through.
Got around the outside there, probably wasn't ever going to pay off. Not that he had much of a choice. He wants the lead, he'll try and get it in any way possible,
Scott's gone off.
but it might be a slightly easier way than we expected. Scott off the track at the penultimate corner.
Mistakes lead to mistakes. He'll be driving angry now, will Scott. It's not a good mindset to drive in.
The CEO of P2 back in P2.
Traditions. Is it just me or did Jackson not get a good run out of that first corner?
Not the best.
Scott's
although
gained a-
Scott now has a penalty, which leaves
Oh,
Jackson
he's
the
gone
only one
wide
without.
again.
2 seconds.
2 seconds, Jackson just has to cruise now, I think.
And he's got to slow down.
Unfortunate, he's driven a brilliant couple of races for Scott. And now he will be battling for his favourite position.
He maybe names it P2, but I don't think he likes P2.
Fine, his most common position. Jackson now 2 seconds clear. I think his one goal is to get the 139 that only Scott has achieved. Jackson.
Set fastest sector 2, Jackson. So has Aston.
Coincidentally, so has Dammers, so has Ducky, so has this guy called Ghost Fired Up. Jack's Aston having a look at the final corner. He has a look. There's contact. Scott will not be happy with that.
Down to P3. Fast lap for Jackson, but it isn't in the 39s yet.
Scott goes wide again. He's
Very wide.
I think he's lost it.
The mindset is gone.
There is no passion. There is no aggression. There is no mindset with this car. I mean, there's probably a lot of passion. There's probably quite a lot of passion and quite a lot of aggression.
Oh yeah, big on the aggression part.
Big on the aggression. Potential battle for the lead, but cars are a lot more spread out. We could see the battle for P3 emerging though, between Scott and Jono. None of the cars looking wrecked yet, like they were in the first race.
It's always a good sign. It's got the chaos on that one. Jono straddles the curb.
Says that Jono's favourite car? Jackson once again not getting that 139.
Further off at this lap. Scott a bit wide, but nothing major.
Yeah, nothing major. He's still... I think he's gained time from... He's pulled away a little bit from Jono there still. It's a very spread out race now. Couple laps to go, 5 minutes 45 seconds left. Jackson leading.
This man looks in control of it.
Very comfortable out front. Oh, that's a slowdown though.
He looked in control of it. Will he stay in control of it?
I think he will.
Still a 1.5 second gap to a guy who has a 2 or 3 second time penalty anyway. 5 seconds now. It's gone up.
So the battle for P2 is still on.
If we look at penalties, Scott, yeah, as long as Scott stays, as long as Scott now stays 5 seconds back, he will, as both Aston and Jono extend their time penalty to 7 and 9 respectively. Result-wise, the order will probably not change, but on track, could get a bit of action. Aston closing by 2/10 on this lap. 1.3 back. 1.2 back.
I mean, Jackson looking for a 3 in that lap time counter. He got one, I just don't think that was the 3 he wanted.
143 dead.
Yeah, Jackson's going to court for murdering 1 minute 43.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry.
Forever sin. Mr. Sandever, another time penalty. He's up to 4 seconds. Jackson, still the only man on track this whole event who hasn't got a time penalty.
Here we
5
see
tenths
Jackson
down.
Turner with a 30-second penalty. No, no, no.
Aston! Time penalty. He's
Once
up to
again,
9 seconds.
9 seconds. Wow.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Brilliant maths there.
Well, I didn't know he was going to get a 3-second penalty that time. Every other time it was 2. 1 second though, the gap. The track limits are working for him in the extent of on track only. And before exceeding
what a
track limits
save.
did a bit more than a penalty there. He does save it.
Jono looks to have had an incident.
20 seconds back.
Yeah, it's just
Today's not been his day.
just an incident on the race. Aston now within 1 second on track. We've finally got another battle.
As things stand, Aston will be dropped to P3 with the penalties. He kills a curb and then onto the grass.
Yeah, very much cutting. Is that going to be another penalty, you think?
Essentially, as the leaderboards now say Jono's in the lead.
Well, what's happened there then? As
And Aston is side by side because Jackson's had to slow down. He's forced his rival off track and taken the lead. Jono is now in the lead by -1 minute and 52 seconds.
Is Jono
What a lap.
stopped or has he gone backwards?
He is
He's just stopped.
stopped.
He wants to battle.
If he wanted a battle, then he has got going a bit too late.
Jackson's got back
Aston
through.
looking to retake the on-track lead, diving to the inside, pushing Jackson off track
This
again.
is a little bit naughty, this from Aston, given his penalty situation. He's trying to win it on penalties.
Jackson, time penalty.
It's
1
happened.
second.
It
12
has
now for
happened.
Aston. I think it was slightly assisted, his penalty, I can't lie. As he now
It's the
pushes
bump
Aston
and
right.
run! It's the bump and run!
Bumping left, right and centre in this race. Last lap, 48 seconds now to go. Will we see a dive bomb? Yes, we
That's
will!
a disgusting
That
dive
is-
bomb. Again,
is-
the bump and run.
They both stayed on track, but that is a bit of a controversial move there.
That's questionable.
Jackson looking for the switchback. Off the track he
That
goes.
is-
Scott could be licking his lips here.
You see Scott appear over the crest. A little bit naughty this from Aston, a little bit
A
naughty.
little bit is maybe an understatement.
bit naughty,
but it's giving
that.
some life to the final lap.
Yeah,
And
Scott.
Aston's properly backed up Jackson. Scott is in with a shot. We'll quickly check the penalty situation. Scott has to take the lead by 3 seconds to win this. Aston goes wide, gives an opportunity for Jackson, who falls off the track. And
Jackson's crashed! He
and over.
slipped! Oh
He's
my
over.
word!
And upside
Oh,
down.
he will be fuming! He will be fuming! In
And it gives
very
Scott
acrimonious circumstances.
across the line.
Scott never wins the race.
race. 3 different winners.
That is. I'd say
This has
that's
been manipulated, man.
that's a little bit controversial, that. Scott wins. I don't know if he'll keep it.
Scott did nothing wrong. He can't be penalised.
That is true. That is true. That is. I can feel a few hefty penalties.
Deserved the.
I can see a few hefty penalties coming out here. Just a few. Possible race bans. My word. Anyway, this has been British
Something.
touring something. First
We did
two
the
races
same.
were brilliantly entertaining. The third race wasn't entertaining, and then it became incredibly controversial. But that means, in simple language, entertaining. So, thank you very much for watching. We will be back in a fortnight at a track. I do not know which track.